Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Anyway, Lady Journey.
Welcome to the Lady Journey, everybody. We were just having a little candid talk that we will be editing because we were naming names.
Yeah, juicy. One of these days it'll be bonus material.
Yes,
when I decide to burn all the bridges.
Oh my gosh, burn every single one. I want to go back to talking shit, but I'm not going to do it because we need to focus.
No, and I have to tell you that it is a collective thought and awareness in my mind lately is to not try to go there.
Yes,
and I can sense myself setting it up.
I know.
And you're like,
yes.
Sarah, what are you doing?
I
what
know.
Are you doing?
You little sneak. I love that. I love that you said that because we did have a whole episode on gossip.
Yeah.
And then when I see you, I'm like, I'm home.
Yeah. Give me my treasures. Yes.
But I have something so exciting to tell you because I have not seen you for a while.
Yeah.
So I have been working on, and this is also my journey for the week. I have been working on a program called the Comedy Climate Cohort. And it is a grant program for people to create comedy about the climate crisis. And it's so cool. Like I just applied for it. I got picked. I'm one of the 8 people of the many who applied. So I've basically been on a long journey of actually getting a deeper understanding of what's going on with global warming, or now it's called the climate crisis. I guess that's like
we are gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
It's so
we're all
hard.
gonna die.
Anytime I see a climate article, I do not tell Joe about it. I feel like I'm okay with it because I'm like, whatever, we'll adapt. We also live in areas that will be fine.
Yeah.
But it is such a bummer.
I feel like I was in that same space of like actively disregarding it and then also trying to be like, I went through my phase where I was like, no bottled water until I'm thirsty, and then I'm like wandering around the park. I'm like getting dehydrated. I'm going into like a heat stroke because I've had no water for days.
Yes.
And I was really part of the way this program is structured is we have the really interesting Zoom. It's all done on Zoom, but we have these really interesting interviews with these people who are experts in different fields. So we had like the UN climate ambassador. He came and talked to us. We had a guy who was like creating a sustainability program in a small town in California. He talked to us. We've had people who were indigenous, and so they were also climate activists and activists for their own indigenous community. So we've had a big breadth of learning from people, different perspectives, and I kind of went into this thinking like, we've definitely done our eco stuff here.
Yeah.
Where it's like you got the hard dish soap and the bristle,
the wooden handle bristle with natural hair.
Are you loving it, by the way?
I do love it. Yes, you guys have, first of all, aesthetically, it looks great.
Yeah.
As a thing to have in your kitchen. And then also I resorted to plant-based sponges.
Yeah.
Because there are sometimes you have to get in the nook and cranny that a little brush won't do. And then I got refillable dishwashing liquid that's in like bags rather than plastic bottles.
That's great. And I was, kind of doing my own eco journey too of just trying to use less. But I was going into this thinking like, okay, I'll find out like what the right things I need to do as a person, as far as like, okay, I need to just stop throwing trash away, or I need to like really do my recycling, right? Yeah. And I went into it and I was kind of learning like, first of all, being eco is hard because you're selfish, right? Like especially now with inflation and everything, it's like, oh, I'm going to spend like 10 times more to get the eco sponge than to get the regular, when I'm already spending, the milk is marked up by like a triple.
I just told Katie I have heavy cream this much. It was $7.49.
There's something funny to me that about heavy, like, wow, heavy. It's really the inflation is very heavy and it's bringing us down. Yes. So I was like learning, and I've been writing like some little jokes about, here and there about the climate as well. And I did hit a really interesting turning point where we learned that, and some other people in the group are more climate activists than I am. I'm just kind of like a concerned citizen, I would say.
Yeah. And probably I would say a realist, because you can really tailspin.
You can tailspin to the point that you're like, nothing matters.
Yes.
And that was part of the I guess mission of this group, was that through our humor that's inspired by the stuff that we learned, we can actually help people see, like, instead of feeling like you can't ever take a flight to visit your grandmother who's dying, or you can't like ever have a bottled water, like, what if you could do 5 things that everybody did that would help?
Yeah.
You can do those things and you can be like, I did my part and now I'm good, you know? And so I was going into it being like, man, like, I fly. First of all, I fly.
Yeah.
And I know that's bad, and I don't know why even, really. But now I know it's because of gas. And I'm so stupid also. I feel like I'm so knowledgeable. And I'm like, oh, yes, my productivity, self-help. And I'm like, how does a car work? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. And I hit a turning point where we learned that actually really the things that are causing global warming that are unfortunately really out of our control is the giant corporations, which have a stranglehold on this country.
Yeah, and it's also like other countries, and then you're also dealing with third world countries, and what are you going to do? Tell them how to run their economy?
Right,
yeah,
right.
When we also have our own shit that we're dealing with.
Right,
yeah.
right. We can't like be over there in India like, sorry, you don't get electricity.
Yeah.
Because we need it.
You have to shut down all your factories.
Yeah.
That we're paying for.
Yeah, sorry. yeah, but I need those phones.
Outsource your labor.
Yeah. So the main thing, though, is these corporations, like a lot of them are like using plastic because it's cheaper. Well, I guess recycling has been like a whole conspiracy where like they can't really recycle that much plastic.
Apparently, yeah, like those plastic Poland spring water bottles.
They
not
go right
really,
in the trash. They
yeah.
go right in the trash. But the corporations, kind of made that up, so you would be like, oh, like, I can recycle it, now it's on me. They recycle the responsibility to the consumer,
yeah,
when they're the ones that are totally disrupting and polluting the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you can actually, I do believe with your purchasing power, you can change the way companies make products. Like if you just started buying, like, not buying detergent in plastic bottles, they will start doing, you know,
they want to make money. Yeah,
they need to make money. So you can have power in your purchasing. And I get that sometimes you're like, shit, I have to buy something right away and I need to do this. But like, yeah, if you just work on some of your purchases, and it doesn't really like make huge difference. I bought toothbrushes with wooden handles.
But anything that's not
and it
plastic,
works fine. Yeah, the bristles will come out in my mouth after 2 months of using it, and it's so funky.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
you're like
you're like,
talking, you're like, hey, you have a bristle sticking out. It's like the way worse than a piece of lettuce. Hi.
Absolutely. But then I'm like that with energy companies too. With like you know, the companies like Schlumberger and all that. I don't that you're like, if you start I don't understand why they can't pivot and start doing another sector of their corporation that works on solar, wind, hydro.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to.
Because gas is so much, and now we've always had to feels like depend on other countries for it. And then when we go into war, it's just like I just heard that Biden's going to a meeting with that dangerous Saudi Arabian prince that beheaded that journalist.
Yes, he's like kissing ass. He's like kissing people's ass so we can have gas, and it's like we literally could all have electric cars.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I learned too. So I watched this documentary. I only watched the first part of it because it is a very dense documentary, but this was like a big turning point for me. It's called I think it's called The Truth About Big Oil. It's a Frontline documentary, 3 parts. It's all about the ExxonMobil company and how in the 70s they knew that they basically funded climate research, that they proved to themselves that burning fossil fuels was going to create a greenhouse effect, thereby it was going to start causing atmospheric changes. And then they spent billions of dollars sowing all the seeds of doubt and funding these climate denier people.
Yeah.
So they could instead of pivoting to renewable energy, so they could just keep doing what they were doing. And it just makes no sense. It's like, why wouldn't you just spend billions of dollars funding renewable energy?
Yeah.
But it's because once you fund renewable energy, like solar power, is now to the technology that it is the cheapest form of solar. It's the cheapest form of energy. If everybody had solar, you would literally get the energy from the sun. You wouldn't be paying ExxonMobil because you'd just be getting the energy from the sun.
Yeah, and like, why can't they pivot to be the ones that make the solar plant panels and are like, you know, the spectrum of solar paneling where they have to come to your house and install it and make sure everything's like, there is a money that can be made and also in those sectors.
I think it's just not nearly as much because like with gas, it's like every time you fill up, you have to get gas. You know, it's like with solar. We did a really interesting talk yesterday with a guy who was really into the future of solar technology, and he was saying like it has gone exponentially. Like 10 years ago, it was like pretty expensive. Now it's so cheap, and he said it's only going to continue the exponential development to the point that it's going to be like everything's going to be powered by solar. The energy is going to be so cheap that we're going to have an abundance of energy on the planet that we've never had before, that people are going to be able to do. Like in Aruba, for example, I know they do all the water is desalinated, and that takes a huge amount of energy. Like we'll be able to do it at the drop of a hat because we'll just have.
Well, that place is like a desert.
It's a desert.
And so you have the solar energy. I had a friend that did solar for his condo, and he would always have extra energy at the month that he gave it to his neighbor.
Yeah.
Isn't that
you
crazy?
could like resell it. I saw a story about a school that they installed solar panels in the back field, and they resold it to the local power grid, and they were making $600,000 a year from it.
That's wild. And then I think of places like Texas that deal with the grid situation that they had.
Yeah, like all that stuff.
Yeah, and like just fix it. Also, I thought that you were a state that had less regulation than California. Like, why can't just start doing solar?
Just fix it. Yeah. Just fix it. So it's frustrating, and I think like now I realize like I definitely want to be an informed consumer, and I want to continue my lifestyle as an eco-friendly person who also mentions it in polite company, and I love that. But I am like, now I've kind of gone through a journey of like, okay, now my mission, I guess, is more to like just educating people of like really the best thing that you can do is make sure everything in your home is renewable energy. So like electric stove, no gas stoves, they said, which I was like, oh, you always hear
gas stove.
So they showed us the thing from Sam B. And it was about the gas industry. Actually, when you see like those chefs and like those TikTok or like Instagram people being like, cooking with gas is better, like a lot of times it's actually funded by the gas industry.
What is happening?
So many conspiracies are at play constantly.
Yes.
That you're like,
it's like, what is there to believe anymore?
Who am I being manipulated by?
Because we were talking earlier, I was like, you're like, I don't think I would be susceptible to joining a cult, and yet here we are. Yeah. We are in one huge cult.
Yeah. We really are. And it's just like, it's so crazy because, you know, in the 60s when they were like, all you have to do to sell toothpaste is make people feel their deep pain inside and they'll buy it. And it's like, it's now gone just so far beyond that, where it's like every form of media is manipulating us.
Oh, yeah. Because here's the thing that's crazy. And I actually, when we did Celebrity Memoir Book Club, and they were talking about, they suspect that Johnny Depp did pay for bots.
Yes.
For the slander of Amber Heard online in every aspect. Because that's on TikTok, and you're just seeing slander, all like just horrific, hateful comments toward her. Nothing in light for her.
Yeah.
Or being like, this is really highly toxic. And then as soon as the deliberation happened and he was not guilty, or she was guilty of defamation or whatever, it's gone. And now it's all like, poor Amber. And then you're like, what happened?
What happened? Yeah.
So all those bots are done.
It was like Johnny Depp is Russia, basically.
I'm boycotting him.
So boycotting him. Yeah. I've been boycotting him since his weird Willy Wonka remake. Like, no, thank you. It's like, oh, Willy Wonka's a full-on pedophile in this one? Is that what the movie is?
Yeah.
It is bizarre. He's like, hello, everyone. Like, what happened to you?
Yeah,
what's wrong with you?
Give me the Gene Wilder.
Yeah, Gene Wilder, he was normal.
Gene Wilder would never have taken his girlfriend to court.
Gene Wilder would never deal with someone shitting in his bed.
No. Absolutely. I still think about that, where you wouldn't even be friends with somebody, but he still kept having like contact with her.
Yeah, like if somebody pooped in your
love
bed.
that we went Amber Heard Johnny Depp again.
Yeah. Well, this is environmentalism.
It is.
But yeah, if somebody pooped in your bed, you're like, hey, like, let's set a boundary.
Yeah, I
Not
don't know
like-
if this is working out anymore.
Yeah, like this isn't like not let's continue to be married.
or like,
for
wouldn't you
years.
put a restraining order? If somebody shat in my bed, I'm calling the cops.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of my own sweet Michael. And if he shit on the bed, first of all, I would be deeply troubled. I would think that something went wrong, like he had some kind of mental breakdown.
He's like dying somewhere. You would find him in like the closet, sick
oh,
or
my
something.
sweet baby.
Yeah.
He would never. Oh my God. But
But
anyway,
yeah, it's like, who do you trust?
who do you trust? And so that I think that was a big part of why this grant program is like so effective, because we are getting it is a grant, so we're getting money to write about whatever we see fit, however this informs our creativity. But they also set it up in a way where it's like we get to have, we had I think like 9 to 12 experts that gave talks on all different angles of the climate crisis, all obviously pro climate. But there was a point where I was like, what if I'm being funded by is this Russia? Is this Russia?
Am I a bot?
Yeah, am I alive even? So it's too deep.
Yeah, all of it is. That's why I say always just do whatever you can manage.
Just do whatever. And I think too, I do basically vote blue ticket, or is that what it's called? I vote straight Democrat. So it's like, for some reason, sadly, the climate issue has become partisan, which is so goofy and it makes no sense. Like in the 70s and 80s, it was like, we all like Earth. But now it's like the liberals, the commie liberals.
Those libtards, like whatever they're called.
The libtards are trying to save the planet. It's like, well.
Those idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they did also say, which I found very actually heartening, because they said like, first of all, there's plenty you can do by investigating your local scene and just finding out what your representatives, where they stand on certain climate issues.
Well, I do watch Bill Maher. I know people hate him, but I do like some of the stuff that he brings up. And he was just saying, like, so he's a liberal, but he gets annoyed with the left. And he's been trying to get solar panels on this shed in his backyard, and it's been a 3-year ordeal with like committees coming out so it does seem like the left makes it hard when you want to go do something like that for your own property. Yeah.
There's
in certain states.
What state is he in?
California.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe.
It's just highly, highly regulated, and things just get so much tax, and
it's the bureaucracy is like really the undoing of all of this.
Where you're like, if there could just be like a Republican with less regulation that is pro, just do solar, like what you want without having any issues, that would be great.
Yeah, just a Republican who's on board with a solar. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, like what? I don't understand.
There's money to be made here, but the thing is, it's like we're addicted to gas, right?
Yeah.
So it's like once we cut off the addiction to gas,
people love their cars too.
People love their cars, but you can have all the same cars. You can have electric vehicle. If I was going to buy a car, I would 100% buy electric. Now that I know and I've been educated, I'm looking online. I'm like, you can get an electric car easily for $15,000.
Yeah,
and
or you don't need
never
a gas
buy
guzzler.
gas. You never buy gas. So it's like you're going to make the money back. But now that I know all this, I do feel one of the things that they said in the seminar, which I found so hopeful, is that like climate denial is down. It's like 7% of people are like these staunch climate deniers now. So it's like everyone now recognizes it's a problem. We've kind of like moved past this era of ExxonMobil and Koch brother funded climate denial.
What's also like, like the denial part, but like you can't deny that what you're seeing. Like we have Trash Island.
We have a trash island. Yeah, you can't deny the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
And then there's like areas in Patagonia or like Chile that just have like beaches of fast fashion that no country we can't keep up. That you're like that's a physical thing that's ugly and also is creating havoc in environment.
Yeah,
and that you can physically see. Like sometimes I kind of understand the people that are like, it's like this entity that's happening 10 or 15 years. Like a lot of people don't think in the future like that. But I do feel like an environment when you're just seeing like stuff in the ocean and things being treated horrifically.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
That's
I
not
don't understand
right.
why you can't get on board with that.
Yes, it's objectively wrong.
Yeah.
It's objectively wrong, and you should think about it when you're throwing shit away.
Or buying stuff.
Or when you're going to Forever 21 or something, for
Yeah.
example. And I did have a little slip up, and I went to a Burlington coat factory recently. But I said to myself, I bought 3 pieces.
You know what? You're keeping it out of the ocean.
I'm wearing these. First of all, my slack shorts were piece 1. These are gorgeous Banana Republic factory outlet shorts.
Yeah.
Okay. I will make them work.
Yes.
I will make them work. So I think, but like minimalism, reducing and like thrifting and all of that is good. But the main thing is transitioning to renewable energy. And it's really not that hard, especially like if you live in New York, you're already like one up.
Yeah.
Like we have public transportation here. Like that's huge. We do still have a gas stove, and they were saying like really the best thing that you can do is try to say like we want to have an electric stove in here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to get to that point with our landlord because we did just get our rent raised, but we have an Instant Pot. So it's like, we rarely use our stove.
I just know like working in property management, landlords hate change.
Oh, I'm sure.
And people in general too, but you're like, it's so hard
That's
to
why
be
they-
like, we've got everything to put electric in here. It's like,
yeah.
I do see like when buildings are getting collapsed or like they're rebuilding, I think
Yeah.
then we'll start seeing more, hopefully,
Fingers crossed. I mean,
energy renewable buildings.
I think we'll see it more when they make it cheaper. And
Yeah.
that's in like the legislation. So it's like, unfortunately, a lot of the politicians that are responsible for it, even like Nancy Pelosi, for example, I mean, they're being influenced by money from these huge fossil fuel industries.
Yeah, they have a shit ton of money.
They have a shit ton of money, and it's like they could just use that for good.
Yeah, come on, Schlumberger.
Slumberjay.
That's the only one I know.
I know the ExxonMobil and now the Koch brothers from the the Koch brothers. I don't think were really in fossil fuel. They have a lot of different stuff in the Midwest, but I can't think of. I know beef is one of them.
I mean, yeah,
the Koch brother,
loaded.
one is dead.
Yeah. Oh, really?
One is dead. I remember he died a few years ago. But the Koch brothers, well, anyway, the whole documentary on the fossil fuel industry, it's very interesting to watch if you have a full 9 hours to really commit to it. But so yeah, that's my journey, and I'm gonna continue to be performing some of my my jokes that I've kind of been working on and coming up with through this process of getting a deeper understanding of the climate crisis, and kind of, I guess, for my own sake, my own mental stability, like processing it in a way that's humorous.
Yes. Well, because there's nothing like bringing a party down with
like the coral's gonna die and there's nothing we can do. The coral's dead and so is everybody else. It's like, okay, let's just chill. But there is hope. There's a lot of hope, and I think what I was feeling so kind of overwhelmed by when I started this process was like, I want to do the right thing. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of stupid, and also it feels like the right thing is to go live in the forest.
I'd love that.
And it sounds like my worst nightmare.
Well,
like,
somebody was telling me to go look up Earth ships on YouTube, and I did, and it was wonderful. But
what's Earth ships?
It's a home that is completely eco-sustainable, meaning like it's like a ship with sails that you work with your environment and how it changes to get the most out of energy. So it's like solar, and it collects rainwater in the back part, and it comes through, and it's filtrated to rocks, so you do get drinking water. And the way that it's built is that you have cooling tunnels underneath that like cater for airflow, so you don't have to worry about like air conditioning, and then you don't have to worry about electricity. And it was in Australia. If you ever look this up, Earth ships are like so fascinating, and I would love to do it, but I do feel like if you live there, it would, in a house that was like that, it's your full-time job, because you're like
running your house.
Yeah, you have to like change your blinds, put them in, like make sure it's like getting the right sun in, and then like make sure everything is working at where it should be working on a day-to-day.
That sounds really cool, though. I'm gonna look that up, and I will link it in the show notes.
Yeah, it's so cool. But
by the way, I A goal. I do always post show notes, everyone, just by the way.
Yes.
On the blog, show notes. There's also Friday links for your weekend, fun stuff that I link you to.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget to give us a rating and review.
Yeah. And join our Patreon.
Yes, please.
Should we go
5%? 5% is going to sustainability. No, that's not true. But I would love to. I was telling Sarah this. I would love to have a eco segment on the podcast where we do like elevate people that are, companies. I think it would be cool if it was like smaller companies that are making strides towards eco.
Yes. There was a grocery store that I just saw that everything you go in and you refill everything.
I want to do that. I want to do that.
I don't know. I'm like, can I come to Astoria? Because I always thought in my dream I would love to run like an online store or a local store that is completely eco-friendly. Like you come and get milk delivered in the glass stuff, and you can refill your detergent in your glass bottles, and we have all of it in one container, so it just like reduces waste, and then you can grains and nuts and all that comes from one
Did
area.
you see it on TikTok? Because I think I
did.
saw it too. I saw it too, and I was like, I'm all about it.
Yes. That's what I want in my life.
I love it. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for your journey too.
Okay, so mine's like a small, lighthearted journey. So I have been posting
to recover from this. We're like, well, we're all gonna die. The coral's dead, and now you time
nails. No. So I like having nice nails. I don't like spending the money for it. I also don't like working on them.
Yeah.
I don't like the process. A lot of times I don't like going to the nail salon. It's long. I always mess it up. So I was trying to think of like alternatives. Mm-hmm. So I did the stickers.
Yes.
Which were fine. But then you can see your nail grooves and it looks a little cheap up close. And then I found press-ons that I was able to look like a natural-ish nail. Mm-hmm. And then they were easy to clip and file down, so they were short. And those were good, but then I found out like within a day or so you are losing a few, and so you have to constantly be gluing it, and I do it at night before I go to bed. So I'm not washing my hands because you don't want to be near water or like dealing with water when you do it. And I find that those were good for if you had an event that night and you don't want to go to the nail salon, just pick up a few cheapies.
Yes.
At the store and glue, and then I think that would be fine, but they will fall off probably the next day. So my assessment is I think nail salons are still the way to go.
The way to go. Yeah, it's so hard to give yourself a manicure, and I'm not a big nail salon person either. We've talked about this on here because I just feel my fingers are always stiff. Yeah, they're like telling me to relax my hand. I'm like, I can't. A stranger is stroking my hand. Okay, my fingers are so stiff right now, and it's kind of a nightmare. But the thing is, it's like when you really try to do your own nails, it's like, how can you cut your own cuticles?
I can't do my right hand.
Yeah, my
left. I'm just
my left looks amazing. My right looks like I have Parkinson's disease. Was that offensive? No offense.
No offense. I'm sure you guys have lovely nails.
Yes.
Who knows?
Sorry.
You're fine.
So
You're
sorry.
Fine. It's okay. It's okay.
The spiral's coming. I do apologize.
That was our takedown.
Yes, that was our takedown. But yeah, it's like doing nails at home, and I know people that can do it, and I'm always shocked that it looks not terrible, because I mean, even filing my nails, I can't do it. Like the most I can do is just keep them clipped.
No, and I also like when you clip your nails at home, no matter how much you put them in the trash can or over your sink, they're always like spew.
I know,
like all over the place.
Yeah, and then Mike is like, "What's this that was on my toothbrush?" I'm like, I have no idea how that could have gotten there.
It's like calcium deposit.
Yeah.
No, it's such a pain in the ass, but I do love a good manicured nail. But this is what I've decided to do. I find that sometimes just filing them or keeping them cut on a regular basis, and then just putting a clear coat, and then I just bought a rose tinted clear coat to give it a pinky thing, so it can smooth out the texture and then make them look decent. But yeah,
that's just enough. That's just enough, because
it makes you feel
the thing
dainty.
the thing about like going to the salon that often is
it's a high expense.
It's so expensive, and it's like, who has the time? Like,
it's like 90 minutes.
If I'm exhausted, like the last thing I want to do is like go to the salon, and then if it's the weekend, you're waiting 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially in New York, I don't know how your guys' salons are, but like I would assume like even outside the city on like a weekend, like there's a wait if you don't have an appointment.
Also, there was a time in New York where there would be such cheap deals on mani-pedis that you're like, is this ethical?
Yeah, no.
There was a huge New York Times article that came out years ago, or New York Magazine.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It was borderline sex trafficking what was happening.
Yeah, it basically was. It was like, because it's like all these women going in for like mani-pedi $15. It's like, well, where do you think this girl's getting any money? Like, people were like, well, I didn't know. It's like, you didn't.
An hour's work?
An hour's work, and you got $15. Yeah, I mean, and then it's supposed to be a thing where it's like, oh, well, you're supposed to tip the girls more, and it's like, I guess, but like, are they even getting that?
No, and it always feels like it's a male nail owner that's like walking up and down as if he's like the leader, or like the master,
like
of
shouting.
Yeah,
and you're like, are you okay?
Absolutely. And then you found out all these girls were like, this is like their first job into the country, and they're living in an apartment with like 8 cubbyhole or whatever you call them.
Yeah, it's like all the bunk beds. It's just like a ship.
Yeah,
or like a submarine.
It's almost indentured servitude is what's happening.
It is. Yeah, that article was such an eye opener.
Before that article came out, there were moments, because when I first moved to New York, that was kind of a luxury that I was partaking in, and there was a time that I was like, you start thinking about the money, the rent that they pay there, and you start putting it together, and you're like, I don't actually think this is money. They're making good money here. How could they? When it's an $8 manicure. Yes.
And I think it's the stuff that I see now is more expensive. I think after that article, I did notice like a lot of that stuff just got kind of like rooted out. But I remember I started getting manicures when I moved to New York too, and I would just get one every now and then. But I had a girlfriend who told me the story about how like she was like, you can't go to like a cheap place because it's not safe. And I was like, oh, thank God someone just like mentioned that to me, because that's not something you would necessarily think of.
You wouldn't think about it.
You're like, oh, I could get like a flesh-eating bacteria inside my pinky.
Yeah. Well, I've heard horrific stories, because when they cut their cuticle, if they're not like disinfected properly, you can get. I've had it before through bartending. It was called fruit rot, but it's very painful. It goes like deep in, and it just gets like really infected. And
oh God!
But
ouch.
Some well-known celebrity had like almost like a blood poisoning from a bad salon. Like
was it a pedicure?
Yeah,
I think I remember hearing
about that. I can't remember who it was, but it was shocking to know that even at that level.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also like even if they are doing all the sanitizing, even if they're doing everything that they're supposed to, it's still like if you get an open wound, like when they're cutting your cuticle, like you definitely do. Like if you've gotten your nails done and you feel like, oh, a little like sting of alcohol, it's like, yes, bitch, it went into your skin. Yes. It went into a hole in your skin.
They can clip you pretty hard a lot of the times.
And also, like, sometimes if you get the pedicure and they're doing, like, the callus removal and they're just, like, you're like, why is it hurting so bad? It's like, that's your skin coming off. Yeah. And then you're, like, just soaking in a vat of
a dirty
bacteria.
Bathtub.
Yeah. So it's not the most hygienic. And I'm sure, like, I do still get pedicures and stuff. And I would pay, like, nothing less than $35 for a pedicure. Yeah, nothing less than $15 for a manicure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on top of that, I'm still tipping. But anything under than that, to me, even outside of New York, I would say.
Yeah.
Even outside of New York, like, that's a red flag that you're like, okay, it's not safe.
Yeah, because I think, like, in around 2008 to 12, it was just, like, you would see advertisements for, like, the cheapest
It would literally be like, mani-pedi $15. Yeah. And you're like, how?
I was like that when you're in Forever 21 and you're buying leggings for $1.40.
Yeah.
You're like, how?
Yeah.
How is this ethical? Like, even if you bumped it up to $5,
yeah,
that's a huge markup from $1.40. We could still be making better lives, and $5 on leggings is still an amazing price.
Yeah. Well, the thing about pedicures, is I love getting them. Where I don't really care about manicures, like pedicure to me is like just luxury, and I'm willing to like, I'll even spend like the $50 to just like go all out like twice a year.
I love putting my feet in a warm bath.
Yeah.
I like when they put the paraffin wax on.
Oh my God, the
and
paraffin.
That warm, sweaty sock that you wear.
So soothing.
The only thing I don't like is when they do the scraping. It tickles my feet.
I know,
bad.
and I feel so awkward. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, my foot's like jerking in the woman's face. I'm like, I'm so sorry, ma'am.
And then I always seem to go when I have waited a week to shave my legs, and I'm always like, I'm so sorry that I'm making you rub my,
oh my God,
bristly legs.
And I have a hairy toe. I got a hairy toe.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm
and I'm
a
like,
hairy person.
don't mind my toe. But I was telling you this a bit before because I did kind of fall in love with the idea of giving myself a home pedicure, and I was kind of toying around with it. I got like Epsom salts, I got some nail polish, and then like when push came to shove, I was like, I don't really have the time to do it, and also I wanted the pedicure to be like a fun, relaxing experience for me and not like another thing that I now, a complicated chore that I have to do.
Yeah, and like another thing that I have to put in my closet and dedicate space to.
Yeah.
And then like when you take it out and you do it, then you have to clean it and then you have to put it back away.
Yeah.
It's just like this like ordeal where you're like, it's just easier just to go to a place.
Yeah, like you
have
have like
accept it.
Right. Just and accept that like actually it's good. Like it's a good way to pamper yourself, freshen yourself up. You're not creating a lot of waste.
Yeah, take a breath.
You're paying people for their work. It's a great way to give back to the economy. And the thing about like a home pedicure, it's like you have a romanticized notion that like I'll have a glass of wine, I'll have a bath, and like cut to 2 hours later I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to like paint my toenails and it's not going well, and now my bathroom is destroyed.
Yeah, and you're not relaxed, and that's supposed to be the whole experience. Is you get to sit in that massage chair.
Yes.
And then it's kind of like, I have this thing, it's like when you make a salad, I don't want to eat it, but when somebody else makes a salad for me, it's like the best thing on earth.
Absolutely.
That
yeah.
I feel like that with the pedicure.
I think it is a necessary expense. You know,
Yeah.
It's like a luxury, and I don't do it that often. I literally do it like beginning of the summer, middle of the summer.
Yeah, maybe a winter boost.
One winter, yeah. One winter if I'm like gonna go on vacation or something, or just to like treat myself to like a little relaxation.
Yes. And then one of my favorite things, I didn't used to do this, but when they have the guy come around being like, "Do you want to do a 15-minute massage?"
Mm-hmm.
I say yes.
I always get it. I always get
best.
it. That guy, usually that's like a masseuse guy that's like working at the place.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't have any clients at the moment. I'm like, load me up.
Yes. It's so easy, so cheap, and it's fast. It's like, what's 15 minutes? And then you feel really good. I always get bummed when they start doing the chop.
I know. You're like, it's winding down. No.
Can we start with the chop first?
Yeah, like just massage into the last second.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about gel?
Okay, so this is a really great question. I was into it because it lasts a long time.
Yes.
But it fucking destroys your nail.
Yeah.
Even doing like, you wrap tinfoil with the Accutane or whatever it's called. That doesn't do it. It just like, so it feels like once you do gel, you can't go back. So I stopped doing gel. And I'm just like, okay with having the manicure that lasts for a few days.
I was really into gel for a while, and I would get it, and then it's so great because it's like you just have a fresh manicure for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I haven't gotten my nails done in a long time because I did just kind of like pull back, and I'm like, it's just not my focus. I'll do my hair, I'll do whatever else. But the thing about gel that would drive me nuts is like it is so hard. I would just end up, one would rip off. And then I would just spend the night picking it off in the shower like a psycho. And just like my friends are like, I'm at dinner. I'm like, sorry, I'm really working here. I have to get I have to start trying to look like a human again.
The worst too is like when you get like the gel starts coming away. Mm-hmm. And then you wash your hair and your hair is just getting pulled into
the cracks of
yeah. And then and I don't like the way it feels. It's like almost like fingernails on a chalkboard, or like if a cat getting petted backwards, where you're like, So once that starts happening, I have to take it all off or start cutting everything.
I would never do the tinfoil and the nail polish remover. I just pick.
Yeah, it's
I just
too
pick
much.
it and like, it doesn't do anything. And then even there, they like basically they just file it off.
Yeah.
So.
But I do want to do one of these days. I want to get the Cardi B special. Like,
what? Oh,
she actually goes to a nail salon. It's in New York. That's well known. Nails on 7th. I think she actually made them well known.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But it's the ornate ones with like lots of jewels hanging off, or like photos of saints and stuff. Like
All Saints Day.
Yeah. I want to be for one day like a girl like a Gwen Stefani, where you are just like decked.
That's a great thing to do for like a birthday or an event. I think it would be so fun. I'm gonna do this year for my birthday. I have already told you this on one of our bonus episodes, which you can find at our Patreon, but I am going to be going all out with a facial for my birthday. Ooh. I'm going to get like a $300 facial.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Where are you going? To the one that Julia recommended?
I think I'm not sure if I'm going to go to that one or not, but I think I may go to, Julia recommended Skin Gym because they have a lot of facial massage, but I'm not sure how into that I am. I think I think I'm looking more for like treatments and like peels and stuff.
Okay.
So I think I may go to Silver Mirror, which is what Caitlin Paloofa recommended to me.
All right.
So we'll see. I will keep everyone updated, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell.
I know. I'm fascinated because I do want to do the Skin Gym.
Yeah. I do want to start getting into the Gua Sha.
Yeah. I did a warm one today because Julia blew my mind when she said,
don't
do
chill
it warm.
Don't
do it cold.
Don't chill the Gua Sha tools. I'm going to get some. I just have to figure out where to get them that's not Amazon.
Oh, I did. I got mine on Amazon. I just accepted it.
When I get a next big purchase.
Yeah. They're not expensive on Amazon.
I'm trying not to get Amazon stuff because I think I did mention this to you, but they fund pro-life. They fund pro-life, which is nuts. But it's like, it makes sense for their business model because people buy stuff for their babies on Amazon. So I guess they're really just investing in themselves.
So crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well. Anyway, that's been our journey.
Lady Journey.
Lady Journey.